Today we're starting beans.
Quack, 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 quack.
Hi there, this is Big Spruce Rabbitry, and today we'll be starting an experiment where I have got 5 types of beans that were given to me by a farm in Washington State, and we're going to see how they do here in Fairbanks, Alaska. So thank you Thousand Flowers Farm for giving us King of the Early, Black Cocoa, Aussie Pinto, Irish Creek Annie, and Red Mexican beans for us to start today. Hope you enjoy. So I've got 4 identical planter pots here. I'm going to set up 4 of the 5 types of beans, 1 per pot, and then whatever's left over I'm going to do in my raised bed. I'm going to get dirt from our dirt pile. It's finely thawed. The 4 types of bean that I'll be setting up in my planter pots are the Black Cocoa, the Aussie Pinto, the Red Mexican, and the King of the Early. I only had 4 of these large planter pots, so I'm going to hold off on the bean that I think will be least successful, the Ireland Creek Annie, since they have the oldest seeds that I'm starting here today, saved from 2016. These are our Black Cocoa beans. These are the Aussie Pinto beans. These are the Red Mexican beans. These are the King of the Early beans. And there we have it, the beans are planted. We'll check on them throughout the rest of the growing season. We'll get more of those beans planted in this little raised bed behind my compost pile, but first I have to get the soil prepared. This raised bed is tilled up and I've added rabbit manure and hay. I'm now going to plant my beans here, starting with the Ireland Annie, the one that we weren't able to put into the pots. So I've got 3 rows of each type of beans, so it's now time to cover them up. Finally, I'll mulch over the top of this to hold in the moisture and prevent any overly curious ducks from getting my beans. And that should do the job. Well, the bean experiment has gone pretty well. The black cocos haven't come up, so I'm going to end up just replanting this pot in a different type of beans. The Anasazi, the Red Mexican, and the King of the Early have all done very well. King of the Early haven't had the best germination rate, but I think I might be able to blame that on the ducks getting into that particular pot. But still, it's done okay. you can see, the beans are doing well. I just got them trellised with these willow branches, and you can see the King of the Early are definitely doing the best at this point. The other two types here are doing pretty well. The black cocos actually came up right when I was about to reseed the pots so as to not waste the space. Well, all the plants came up. Unfortunately, the ducks did manage to get the leaves of a few of the beans on this side, but the beans that did lose leaves seem to be recovering, so I'm hoping for a good bean harvest. The beans in the main garden bed are also doing awesome. Here's the bean jungle growing in that back garden bed. The beans are growing great. Lots of little flowers and beans all over the place. Well, we had our first frost yesterday. I don't think these bean plants are going to continue producing, so it's time to go ahead and harvest them. And I'm going to basically compare how many green beans we got from each of the 4 varieties that we tested and see how it worked. Here are the bean plants from the garden bed. Let's go feed them to the bunnies. Well, I've got all the beans harvested and there was a definite winner. The King of the Early. It totally filled the container. But I also got some of the red Mexican beans and a few of the black cocoa beans and didn't get any of the pinto beans. I'm now going to go and harvest the big garden bed and see how many beans we got out of there. Well, I finished harvesting the last of the beans for our 1,000 Flowers Farm bean experiment, and this is the bucket of beans we got. We just have to add the buckets from here. King of the Earlies, red Mexican, and the black cocoa beans. I'll have to get all these things processed the next couple of days and put in the freezer. And thank you 1,000 Flowers Farm for letting us test out these beans and see how they did. And I'm quite impressed, and we will be growing King of the Early in future years. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and check out our farm store in the description.